Alright, so we're at stage 3. We've done stage 1 with the skin, the Andy slimline, and then the skin, and then we've done stage 2 under the number 1 slightly open, so about a 1.25, and we've blended all of that. Now we're at stage 3. So now in basics term, we've used the number 1 guard around here and we've used the number 2 guard around here. Now there's 2 methods that I'm going to show you how to blend from there to there, and personally I like the second method, but again I'm going to show you the 2 methods. With those 2 methods, it's not necessarily always better using a certain method. It depends on the client's hair. So I'm going to show you both. This one is that you start off with a 1.5 wow guard, and the technique that you will be using, you'll be going from the bottom to the top, but not all the way to the top. You'll be scooping out. Now you need to apply high pressure on the dark line here. As you go out, you're going to scoop out. So press as hard as you can and scoop out. What I do as well, I tend to hold it from here down here. Why? As I press against the skin, and when I let go, I feel like it naturally bounces out for me. So press hard and it will naturally just come out for me. You want to really go at least halfway up and then start come out. So you can dig in for all the way up to halfway line and then dig out. That's that. Now the next step is we're going to go back to the number 1 guard, and this time, because we have started this outline with a 20% open, we're now going to use 1 fully closed. So that will help get rid of the line a lot easier. So take the 1 fully closed, just lightly flick on it first to begin with to lighten up the line. But lightly flick, because it's 1 open, slightly open, you're sort of blending in and using this number 1 like as if it's 1 closed and slightly open by flicking. So you're just re-blending and just making it very lightly synced together. And as you do that, you work your way up really slowly. Eventually you open it back to that 20% like you started off with, and you flick into the fade. Obviously, as you open into a fade, you have to close the fade off. And how do you do that? You go back to down to fully closed. So right now I'm just doing 20% slightly open, and then when I want to finish this fade off, I have to close the blade. Now use the corners of the blade, get rid of any lines that are apparent. So that is step 1 of doing it. Now on both sides, you will be using a 0.5 to clear out any dark spots that aren't still haven't gone with the number 1. So I'll take a 0.5 clip. Half guard, wow, 0.5. Now there's a very good technique with this. A, you can work around the corners, and B, say there's a line where as a beginner you feel like if you were to take the guard off and play around with the corners, you'd smudge it up. So the alternative is by putting the clip, fully closing it and using a technique that I call the pinching technique. So areas like this, I can squeeze and feed the machine into the lines. So this cuts like as if it's about 20% open, or even shorter if you use the technique right. Put in pressure upwards with the machine and downwards with your thumb, and that will really get in any dark lines left at the bottom. And it's more of a low risk method than using no guards at all. Slightly open a little bit, just polishing up the fade. Again, the basic thing that you need to remember is 1.5 first, then a number 1. And this is more of a finalizing thing. So you take a 0.5 and just work around any lines you see. Okay, now I'm going to show you the exact same thing. You can do another method. So I'll show you on this side, the alternative method. Now for this method, I like it quite a lot because I find the Andy's guards, they naturally sort of blend when you're doing it, as opposed to the wow guards, which is this one, wow number 1 and Andy's number 1. With the wow guards, it's good for creating an outline to begin with because it cuts quite quick. Now the Andes one, I like it because as I'm fading, I feel like it's naturally transitioning. At the same time, you can see the difference in the guards. I feel that with this, I can smoothly go up. It's just a lot more comfortable personally. So what we do, again, fully closed, working on that line again. The thing with this is, it may leave a line a lot darker than we did, but in this case, I can get rid of the whole thing with this number only. So closed, lightly flicking up. Opening it again, 20%. And then we just flick it up to the top. Again, this one just blends in really naturally. So it's low effort. And then I can go back to close the fade off. I'm also using that pinching technique, even with this guard. So then when I come back to a 0.5, this should be able to get rid of really easily. Just do that. Do some corner works. And also look at the way the hair grains grow. So as this is growing this way and that one is growing that way, I would ideally work like this and follow the grain pattern so that the final finish comes out very succinct with the grain pattern. So now I can go back to the 0.5 and knock off the dark line at the bottom. So fully closed, just playing around, and then open a little bit, play around the dark spots. But if you want to do it more on a structured way, then you just go back to the method of 20% open, lightly flick on it or graze on the hairs, and then close the fade and use your corners to not create a new line. Again, 20% open, lightly graze. As I get to the back, some areas like this feels like it's a bit risky to just go up. So you can open it a bit more to the 50, so the part 2 stage, go a little bit higher up. But again, with this section, you have to graze the hairs. You can't put full pressure. So just grazing the hairs, unless the client's hair is very, very thick. Now I'll go back to 20 and clear off any dark spots. So let's see that now from zoom from far. How does it look? There we go, spin. And that is stage 3 completed.